So we
All
are
right.
live. We are good.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone, and a happy new year. For those of us who will be joining Ivy League for the first time, I also want to say welcome, everyone. So, welcome to our virtual CFA Open Day. We are proud to say this is our fourth CFA Open Day, which we also call our information sharing session. We've been doing this since 2020. We'll speak about some of the journey and hopefully this will continue to happen in the next foreseeable future. So welcome, everyone. So with you all today is your host. My name is Jonathan Ike Olumba. I head the learning and development aspect of the business here. So CFA pretty much is one of our learning programs that we do offer, and it's my pleasure to be your anchor. And please do feel free to ask me as and just generally engage me in any aspect of learning and around any of our programs that will be putting up on display today. So what are we going to be covering today? So we've done the welcome, the introduction. We'll speak a bit about the CFA program. We also have a surprise guest, and I'll be leaving that close to my chest until when we get there, who will speak to us on the benefits of this program to us as finance professionals. We'll speak a bit around some of the updates. I think it's very important when we speak like this. It's always important that we highlight. So the CFA qualification, especially its curriculum, is never static. So what the CFA does is every year it looks through and try to incorporate, some of the latest trends in terms of the investment market, reflect them in the qualification, so that a candidate who is preparing for the exam is generally fit, for market entry, and also ensuring a perfect alignment between what they've studied in the qualification curriculum and also what is happening out there in the market. So there's always a regular update, and it will be very essential today that we speak to this update, especially because last year there was a freeze in the updates on the curriculum, which was the first in, I mean, since the history of the qualification. So because of the impact of COVID, so they made a conscious decision to put a freeze to the curriculum. So the last time the curriculum was updated was 2 years ago. So there are quite some very noticeable updates in the curriculum that I'll be happy to share with everyone today. Then we'll speak about scholarship, which is also something that quite attractive to a lot of people here. So there are some scholarship offerings. In fact, the scholarship offerings also have a local dimension as well too. So at the level of the CFA Society in Nigeria, there are some scholarship opportunities, while globally as an institute, the CFA also offers certain kind of scholarship programs. We'll speak about our methodology as a school, how we approach tuition generally, which also extends to how we approach our CFA tuition. And then also we'll speak about our faculty. We showcase our faculty. A good amount of them are on the call, and we'll also still be on the call throughout the duration of the program. And then we'll talk about how to get registered for the exam. And finally, we are happy to take on questions. So that would generally just form our program for today. Okay, so welcome to Ivy League, and just some landmark we want to share with you. So we've been in existence, offering several professional finance qualification since 2012, but commercially we started in 2013. So quite some landmark we've attained in the other professional finance qualification. But just to say, we commenced CFA in 2020. Our first diet started in July 2020. Our purpose is to promote economic empowerment and societal growth through professional education. So we like to say that this is our contribution to societal development and just generally ensuring that humanity has a good cause. Some of our program or products in the school is we prepare people for ACCA. That's also a professional finance qualification. We also offer tuition for CFA. We're also mentors to those who might want to apply for a BSc in applied accounting. And also we offer diploma in IFRS qualification for those who want to deepen their knowledge of financial reporting. A bit about the CFA program. So the CFA, which is an acronym for Chartered Financial Analyst, is a credential that we regard as the most highly respected designation for investment management profession. And when we look through and also based on available research, the target audience for the CFA credentials are largely people with the following background. So we find people who are involved in portfolio and wealth management, people involved in investment management, also those in investment analysis, equity and research analysts as well. Also professionals who generally have different roles to play in the investment decision making process, and also finance students. That's also something very interesting about this qualification, that even as a current undergraduate in a university, you're also welcome to joining this qualification at that level. So it's also open to finance students who have a passion or a desire to work in the investment management profession. So in terms of the structure of the qualification and the program itself, so there are generally 3 exams, and each exam is graded on a level. So you've got level 1 exams, level 2 exams, and level 3 exams. So in order to complete the program, the average or the shortest average possible time, maybe that's the right word, the shortest possible average time to complete the entirety of the qualification is 21 months, and I'm going to explain that shortly. So which is technically within 2 years you can actually complete all 3 exams, and that's like the shortest possible time. But on the average, we see people complete the exam within 3 to 4 years, and it's actually very encouraged that candidates spend quite a lot of time reading and understanding the content of the curriculum. So yeah, and at before you can then progress, to obtaining the charter, there's also an expectation that you should have met the 4-year work experience, relevant experience requirement as well. So in terms of prerequisites, before you are eligible to write the CFA program exam, which is starting from the CFA level 1, so you must have met the following. So either you have a BSc or an equivalent of a BSc, a bachelor's degree, or you will be a final year student of a bachelor's program. So either you're through with a bachelor or an equivalent of a bachelor's degrees program, or you're currently a final year student of a bachelor's degree program. The second prerequisite is to have a combination of 4 years of full-time work experience. Now, this applies to those who don't have a bachelor or an equivalent of a bachelor's degree. So experienced investment management professionals with a combination of about 48 months of full work time experience can actually take that route as well to writing the CFE program. In terms of the structure of the qualification, so the CFA's qualification is guided by a curriculum, and the curriculum is also broken down into what we call study sessions. So a curriculum rather contains 10 topics. So 10 topics are tested in the curriculum, and for the curriculum they're organized into study sessions. A study session also has several readings, and I will speak to that in some detail now. So for the level 1 CFA program level 1, there are currently 19 study sessions and a combined total of 60 readings. So the readings are not spread pro rata. So some readings you might find, you just find a reading per a study session, like for example, alternative investments is just a reading. While in several topics, you might find several study sessions as well too. So That's the way it is. For level 2, 17 study sessions and 47 readings. At level 3, 16 study sessions and 35 readings. It's also instructive to state that for every reading, there are what we call learning outcome statements, which are more like the expectations from the examining team on key outcomes that a candidate should have learned, as you go through the readings per the study sessions, ultimately from the topic areas. So let's speak a bit in some detail for the level 1 program. In terms of the format and the exam structure, so let me add that all CFA program currently, especially let me highlight the level 1, are offered on a computer-based exam format. So this level 1 computer-based exam format consists of multiple choice questions. And the multiple choice questions are, for now, a total of 180 multiple choice questions. But you would attempt this multiple choice questions, this 180 multiple choice questions, over two sessions split into 135 minutes each per session. So the bigger picture is it takes you 270 minutes, which is technically 4.5 hours for the exam. So you would do 135 minutes per session. So ultimately there'll be two sessions. You can liken it to maybe a morning session and afternoon session, or you basically might want to just space your time between when you want to do that. So each session is 135 minutes, and you'll be answering in total 90 MCQs, which are multiple choice questions for a particular session. Yeah. So from the data available, which is really a point that I was trying to make when I was speaking about the average number of hours it might take a candidate to complete the program. So average time spent in preparing for the level 1 program based on the last available data shared by the CEF Institute was 303 hours. I think we have a noise somewhere. It's 303 hours. That also speaks to the demand in terms of time required to prepare for the qualification. So and in terms of how you look at the 10 topics and the weighting they would have, when you look at the overall questions that will be answered or expected to be attempted on that date. So these are the 10 topics at level 1 you treat. Ethical and professional standards, quantitative methods, economics, financial statement analysis, corporate issuers, equity investment, fixed income, derivatives, alternative investment, and portfolio management. Let me add that there has been a name change on some of the topics, and specifically for two. So before now, it used to be called financial reporting and analysis, but there's been a name change now. So it's now referred to as financial statement analysis. The other name change is corporate issuers. It used to be called corporate finance, but it's now been renamed as corporate issuers. So these are, and I'm going to speak to some of the significant changes on the curriculum. So just to state this. So if you look through, and which is the point I want to make, you would see the weightings for the topics as in terms of percentage in the overall exam. I think clearly we can see that for level 1, the topic with the highest weighting is ethics, and it is designated as so and deliberately so, just to also reinforce how crucial ethics is to the industry, and especially for those who will be starting out in the exam. So ethics is actually a very, very strong part of the CFA curriculum. There's also something called the ethics adjustment score. Let me just add this. So, and this happens for marginal pass or fail. So if you get a marginal performance, which is, like I've said, if you get a marginal performance in terms of pass or fail, And CFA has a right to adjust your score in terms of if you meet the final pass or fail, and based on your performance on ethics. And so one of the things that has happened, and which has happened in the past, is a marginal fail, which is just basically someone, just at the margins below the minimum passing score, but has a very strong score in their ethics and professional score, can be given a pass. And we've also seen people with a marginal pass, which is just somewhere, at the line of the minimum passing score, but did poorly in ethics. So the CFA Institute has also adjusted the person's overall result to a fail. So just to state that ethics and professional standard is a very strong component of the CFA program. And more importantly, that is reflected in its ability to influence a level 1 pass ultimately. So for those in level 2, the exam consists of or comprises of what we call vignettes, which are like short case study questions. And for the vignettes, there will be accompanying multiple choice questions. Also, computer-based exams, like I said, the exams are not computer-based. So it will take you the same time, approximately 4.5 hours, split into 2 sessions. Just to highlight that the break is optional. That's the point I was trying to make. So these breaks are optional, meaning you can opt to take a break and rest, maybe refresh yourself, and then come back for the second session, or you might opt to just go in straight for the full 4.5 hours. So each item set, for at level 2 consists of a vignette followed by either 4 or 6 directly related multiple choice questions. So there'll be 44 of the multiple choice questions in each of the 2 sessions, which will give a total of 88, for the entire exams, and each will be worth 3 points. Also for level 2, you must, the multiple choice items, in each item set must be answered based on the information in the vignette. And just to say that the questions are not freestanding, which is the point I was making about the vignette being a short case question. So they are not freestanding. So every question has to be in relation to the vignette before you answer each item. In terms of weighting, it's a bit different at level 2, and if you look here, you would appreciate it. So ethics, financial statement analysis, fixed income, and portfolio. So look at it. Let me just take it. Ethics, financial statement analysis, equity, fixed income, and portfolio management basically have a higher weighting in relation to the other topical areas. So that also reflects, the expectations. At level 1, the focus really is a lot around, understanding basic concepts. As you get to level 2, there's quite a lot of application and understanding of the core tools, core investment tools, and it's reflected in the weightings you see. For level 3, in continuation of what we have in level 2, so you would have item sets comprised of vignettes with accompanying multiple choice items, and then you also have a constructed response, which are really essay questions. The computer-based exams is also 4.5 hours, split into 2 sessions, and the break is also optional. So across all levels, you have the option to take the break, or you go straight for the 4.5 hours. So for the first session of the level 3 exam, 8 to 11 constructed response, which is the essay questions. Each of the essay questions on the exam consists of a vignette followed by several related items that requires a written response. So I think that's the major thing. There's a written response in level 3. You would also have some multiple choice questions as well in the session, and the essay questions have varying point values, so not consistent. With each questions can vary in the point values. Okay. The second session will be 44 multiple choice questions at level 3, each worth 3 points. Each item set on the CFA exam, like I've said, consists of a vignette followed by either 4 or 6 multiple choice item questions. Both essay and multiple choice items must be answered based on the information in the vignette. And as such, they're not freestanding like you have in level 1. So you always have to refer back to the vignette before you answer each question item. An idea of the weighting for level 3. So portfolio management, which reflects the expectation at this level. Wealth management, portfolio management is 35 to 40%, and then you then have fixed income as well, with 15 to 20%, and then equity and professional standards are 10 to 15%. Then economics, derivatives, and alternative investment can weigh anything around the range of 5 to 10%. All right. So we should have a guest lecturer at this point, but I'll just need a confirmation if our guest lecturer is on the call. So just a second.
Hi, Jonathan.
Yeah, hi.
So in 3 minutes, so maybe let's continue.
Or
When is around, let you know.
okay, that's fine. In fact, I was going to ask that we guess. We made it a surprise guess. But maybe what I'll do is, Shay, giving you on the call. I mean, given what I've shared from around the program overview, are there some specific things you might want to highlight, especially in terms of differences from level 1 to level 3?
Well, yeah. So level 1 pretty much focuses on analytical tools, pretty much the quant, economics, FSA, and corporate issuers, as you said. So that's really the emphasis of level 1, how to be able to use those analytical tools in making investment decisions. So obviously, you know that if you want to divide this CFA curriculum, you have to look at it from 4 buckets. So the first bucket is the ethical and professional standards. The second bucket are the analytical tools. The third bucket are the asset classes. So without an ethical background, you really can't succeed in the investment management profession, because on integrity underlies success in that area. But then dealing with the asset classes, the fixed income, equity, derivatives, and alternatives, requires that you have those analytical tools to be able to do your analysis in terms of viability of various asset classes. So, for example, we are going to be learning a lot of things in quant and economics. So, for example, how do we determine whether a sector is good or is viable for equity investments? You may have to do some form of top-down analysis, which often starts with macro analysis before you go into the industry and the particular entity itself. So it's always necessary to have that analytical background, and that really, within level 1. The fourth, please. Um, okay. So the fourth category is performance management. This person. Okay, so the fourth category is performance management.
Portfolio
management rather. So portfolio management is where you put everything together. So as you asked, level 3 then focuses more on the third and the fourth buckets, where you are looking at how do you structure your investment portfolio for private individuals, high net worth individuals, or what we generally call private wealth management, or for institutional investors like pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, insurance companies, and the rest. So the emphasis of level 3 is pretty much, dealing with these asset classes and structuring a portfolio based on your understanding of capital market expectations and obviously with ethical background still underpinning each of the three levels. So for me, I think that's pretty much the difference in terms of the focus. But obviously, the exam structure also varies, as Jonathan has mentioned.
All right, fantastic. I like the way you broke them down structurally. So you've got ethics, you've got the analytical tools, you've got the asset classes and portfolio management. And as you move on from level 1 to 3, the emphasis begin to vary. All right, thank you so much. So we've got a guest lecture, and which also means we also have a guest speaker. I wanted us to play a bit, and the guest speaker will be speaking on the CFA Charter and the benefits to a finance professional. I wanted us to just do something and guess who could guess who we have as our guest speaker. But let me just give you some sort of hints. This is a very passionate CFA, what's the word I would use? Volunteer and advocate, and you generally understand why when we call the person up. So, but is anybody happy to guess on the chat box? Who do you think might be the guest speaker? And there will be a prize for you if you're able to guess accurately, by the way. Don't let us go away without prize. So just guess. Okay.
Hi, Jonathan.
Yeah.
He would like to present. So I forwarded the slides earlier. I don't know whether
Yeah.
you want.
I have the slides. I have the slides there.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So let's roll the drums and welcome our guest speaker. So our guest speaker is Mr. Oke Umanu, the chief economist at SEC Nigeria. But a bit about him. So Oke Umanu is the chief economist of the Securities and Exchange Commission in Nigeria. He's also the advisor at the West African Capital Market Integration Project in Ghana. Prior to joining SEC in 2016 as the head of risk management, he has spent about 13 years in various roles at the Central Bank of Nigeria. He earned his CFA charter in 2012. He's a founding member of the CFA Society in Nigeria and the first vice president of the CFA Society in Nigeria. He was the recipient of the CFA Society Nigeria Volunteer and also the Long Service Award in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our privilege to welcome to our school, Mr. Oke Umanu. Welcome. Okay.
I'm happy to be here. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sheyi, for inviting me. It's always good to speak to prospective candidates and candidates too. So thank you very much. I'll first start by congratulating you on your decision to write the CFA exam. For those who are level 1 candidates who are just starting, I would say congratulations because you have made a very good decision. As long as you keep to it, actually, and complete the program, you will benefit from the program. I must tell you that writing the CFA has been one of the best decisions I've made career-wise. The CFA program promises a lot, but it's also difficult. So let nobody kid you that it's easy. It's difficult, but with help, like what you're getting now, it's a lot easier than it used to be. When we wrote, you remember, we didn't have any school to go to, so we had to study on our own. But now you have people who have qualified already teaching you and pointing at those areas that you need to look out for and making it generally easier. So I was asked to just talk about the benefits of being a charter holder of the charter to a typical finance professional. Of course, I don't need to tell you that this is a gold standard when it comes to finance. Oh, yeah. Hello. Hello. Can you hear
Sorry
me?
about that. Yeah, we can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, so I don't need to repeat that it's a gold standard when it comes to finance, when it comes to wealth management, asset management, investment management, the capital markets. You can't get a better course to make you relevant in the market than the CFA. The CFA, I tell people that it presents you with real world skills. I work in the capital market. So I can tell you that the skills you get from the CFA can be applied immediately. So it's not like those academic qualifications that are theoretical that you now have to work to, link what you have studied with the application. This is application based. So every year they change the curriculum to suit what is happening in the world. I happen to work for an organization that is a member of IOSCO, and we get we get involved in making the rules that run the markets around the world. And you see that all these things are things that CFA looks at and is already applying. Presently, about 25,000 firms employ CFA charter holders around the world. The CFA is recognized in up to 162 markets. The CFA has been on, the exam you're writing now has been on for over 70 years. And it's the industry standard. Anywhere you go, it is industry standard. So to have a successful career in finance, the CFA gives you an edge over someone that doesn't have it. Another thing the CFA does for you is that it gives you some ethical foundation. The CFA doesn't joke with ethics. I'm sure your tutors will tell you that if you're on the borderline in the exam and you pass ethics, you succeed, you pass. And in the market these days, we've seen that ethics is very important. Market conduct is very important. And the CFA grounds you in ethics so that when you join the market, it's easy to obey the rules and regulations. And then in many markets, the CFA designation allows you to get over some qualifying exams. In fact, in some markets, you don't need to write any qualifying exam. We are looking at it seriously in our own market. For those of you that will finish and remain in Nigeria, the problem we are having now in the CFA Society Nigeria and in the Nigerian capital market is that when people get the CFA, they leave. We hope that you would stay to help us build a market. Canada is our biggest problem now, but we are saying that if you decide to even go anywhere, it's easy. It's a good passport to have. And then the CFA allows you to expand your knowledge. The body of knowledge is very wide, so you end up knowing lots of stuff. And that means that you can fit into different aspects of finance. And then more importantly, the one I have found very, very useful is the global community you join when you become a charter holder. So sometimes I have an issue I need to solve. I can pick up my phone and call somebody in Malaysia that I met over the CFA program, or I met in one of the CFA conferences. So I call and say, well, how are you guys handling this in Malaysia? And then I call somebody in Thailand. I call someone in Hong Kong. I call someone in the US. And it's so easy because the CFA, makes it a community and we can all share information and share ideas. And then you get expert support. The CFA, even as charter holders, they keep sending us stuff that keeps you at the top of your game, keeps you going, you know what's going on, you have all the extra new things. When new things come out, they tell you about them and you can just read those stuff and you are up to speed with what is going on. And then the CFA brings value to employers. The best, I'll later show you who are the highest employers in Nigeria and around the world. So employers recognize the value. In the SEC, the value is recognized. And the CBN, I used to work in the CBN, it's recognized. In some other places, I'll give you a list very soon. And then the compensation levels are good. I'll give you something about the compensation levels very soon. And also the content. For instance, the CFA has started teaching about fintech. We all know that fintech has become very important. And the CFA has included it in the curriculum so that when you finish, you're not left out. You're able to, merely step into what is going on in the financial markets. Can you move the slide? Okay, so this is this is a survey the CFA did in 2016, I think, 2016 or 2015. They did this survey to say where charter holders work, and this is what they got. They got these percentages: 16% are research analysts, 23% are portfolio managers, financial advisors are 5%, and all that. So the CFA prepares you for all these jobs. So you can fit into several roles, different kinds of roles, if you have the charter. So these are the top employers of CFA charter holders. These are our 2018 survey. JP Morgan had 1,780. I went to Bank of America Merrill Lynch. You see my Bank of America Merrill Lynch there, 1451. I went to their asset management firm in Boston, and they took us in to see something. They said, come and see something. So we went into a hall, a long hall. And on the wall of the hall, we have 51 charters. You know, when you get the CFA charter, it's not like the normal certificate. It's a big, certificate. So what they do in Bank of America Merrill Lynch, because they are proud of the charter holders they have, they take those charters and they frame them, and they have a wall where they put it. So once you join the firm or you are in the firm and you get the charter, they take it. So it's a thing of pride for them. So, you know, for an institution to employ over 1,000, about 1,500 charter holders, tells you the value. And to create, they didn't create that wall for any other qualification, just the CFA. I saw it with my own eyes. Nobody told me. So that tells you how important these employers take the charter to be. And then in Nigeria, who are the biggest employers? CBN is the #1 employer. Stanbic IBTC and Zenith are about the second. And then there's the First Bank. I'm sure you can recognize many of the companies there. This is as our 2019. So you can see that these are all good employers. In fact, CBN has a program. They have a program for getting charter holders because they want to retain, they want to get and retain the best people. Please move. Next slide. Okay, so somebody was asking, the money is much. I will pay for exam in dollars, then I'll pay Ivy League, another fee again for training, then I'll buy calculator, then I'll buy books. I just want to tell you that CFA has very good return on investment. I am an example. I use myself as an example for return on investment. When I was writing all my allowances, that time, they used to pay us allowances at the beginning of the year, and then the rest of the year, you just get your salary. All my allowances were spent in this exam. You know, that time there was no center in Nigeria. We used to go to Ghana. You can ask we went together. You now also have to buy books and all that. And we did all that. But I can tell you that the return on investment, I can't even calculate. I'm sure it's in hundreds of thousands of %. So over time, in fact, I keep telling people that the first return that covered all the money I spent, I got it in one job, just one job. I did a job that took me 3 days to do, and the person paid me money that covered all that money I spent. So when it comes to the CFA, please don't think about that. Think of it as an investment that has very high returns. And the returns keep coming all through your career. So it's not a one-off thing. So it has very good return on investment. Next slide. So this is a survey the CFA conducted a few years ago. I think 2018 or 19. They conducted this survey of charter holder salaries of people who have not entry level, who have moved up a bit, maybe 6 years to 10 years in their careers in the US. And the base salary they got for people who are portfolio managers without the CFA charter, okay? They got that portfolio managers without the CFA charter were paid much less than portfolio managers with the CFA charter. So this is just bringing out the base salary and total compensation of those with CFA charter. If you go to the research on the CFA website, you see that as you advance in your career in the US, this is studies that have been conducted. If you have the CFA, you earn more over time than your colleagues who you entered the same time with who don't have the CFA. This is from the US, and I can tell you that these things reflect in all markets. It's just that we haven't studied our own. I've encouraged the CFA sites in Nigeria to make such studies so that when we are talking with figures. So this is about the total median total compensation of a portfolio manager who has a CFA charter in the US. Can we go on? So I just want to talk briefly about the CFA Society in Nigeria. It's important that as you get your charter, you join the society, because that's where you get networking opportunities. That's where you meet people who, you know, show you things that you didn't know were there. This is where you meet people who show you deals, who show you transactions that move you along. This is where you get people who show you career moves that you can make. Okay, so the society has been on for about 10 years. We formed it, where the founding members. We started with 50 people. When I got my charter, there was no society because we went up to 50 in Nigeria. I was a member of CFA Society Washington, D.C., but I couldn't, because I was living in Nigeria, it was difficult to always go for programs there. But when we got our own, I decided to join, you know, and be active in it. And we invite you to also be active. We have over 500 charter holders. We are supposed to have over 1,000 charter holders from now. I used to be chairman of membership committee, so I can tell you for sure. But what I said before was that because the CFA is so valuable, when people get it, a lot of them leave the country. So we've had a very large number of charter holders leave Nigeria to go to mostly Canada. Some have gone to the US, UK, Australia, but most of them are in Canada. So the CFA gave them that opportunity, made it easier for them to emigrate. Our society is one of the fastest growing in the world. We are an award-winning society. We maintain a job board. That job board is very important for young people. I assume that those writing level one, a lot of the time they are young people. So the job board helps you. There's always a job. There are always people asking us to help them get staff. So I just want to, please go on. I think that's about it. Yeah, okay. So I just want to encourage you. There are many benefits, and I want to encourage you as you start, be serious with it. Listen to what your tutors are telling you, listen to their advice because they have gone through it, and they try to make the best use of it. Thank you. Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks very much. This is very, very insightful 15 minutes, so just a bit above that. I think you covered so many things that I didn't think was possible to cover within the time you had.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay. I don't know if you have time for one or two questions in case.
That's okay.
Yeah, the participants. So please, if you have any question, you can come off mute or just indicate by, you know, raising your hand, and we'll be happy to give you the floor.
Okay. Just confirm if you can hear me as well.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, so a question was sent to me. I think the person had a network issue and just sent it to me to ask you. So the person says, I've been in banking for more than 15 years. I don't know what next to do. Can the CFA be a pathway to navigate my career again? So that's one question that I have. Then another question says, are there entrepreneurial opportunities with the CFA charter? So I don't know if you want to take those two.
Yeah, the first one, if you want to change the direction of your career, the CFA is the go-to qualification. So you have been in banking. I don't know what aspect of banking. Maybe you have been in the operations side of banking.
Exactly.
So with the CFA, you can go to the treasury side. You know, if you want to remain in the bank. If you don't, you can go into the capital market. So with the CFA, you can become a member of Treasury Department, helping with, of course, we are introducing derivatives this year, helping with hedging, helping with raising finance and all that. If you want to go into the capital market, you can be a portfolio manager, you can be so many things in the market. So yes, the answer is yes. The CFA can help you change the direction of your career. And then the second one is entrepreneurial opportunities. There are so many. Let me even start from what the Ivy League is a product that they are doing. The CFA is an entrepreneurial exercise. But beyond that, if you go into the capital market, there's so much you can do, so much. I just told you now, derivatives trading is starting in Nigeria. Why haven't we started? The SEC approved the contracts last year, exchange traded derivatives contracts last year, but we are trying to bring the market up to speed. So if with the CFA, you don't need, I mean, the kind of trading we want to do is even level 1 work in CFA. So you don't need all that. So you can become a trader, derivatives trader. You can become a fund manager, like I said before. You can become an advisor. In Nigeria, we call them issuing houses. So if you're an issuing house, you help companies come to the market. You can become a financial advisor. You can become, we have individual advisors in Nigeria. We allow you to register as an individual advisor. You're the company yourself, and you can give advice. There's so much. There are so many things you can do. If I start naming them now, we will spend the whole day here. So yes, lots and lots of entrepreneurial opportunities.
Fantastic.
All right. Thank you very much. I know your time is very precious. You've got other stuff you need to do. So thanks very much for honoring us. I'm sure participants picked a lot from this. Okay,
I think somebody is talking. I think somebody is speaking behind you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Morning, everyone. So sorry, I have a funny question, kind of. I've always gotten this question. It's like a 2-in-1 question regarding CBN. First of all, you mentioned CBN has a program or something like that in relation to CFA. Can you say a bit more about it? And secondly, sir, please, how do people get jobs in CBN?
I don't know how they get jobs there. I'm no longer there, but I can tell you how I got mine, how I got there. I just did an interview. They published in 2002. They published in the newspapers and asked that people should apply. I applied half-heartedly. In fact, I didn't even submit it myself. Somebody helped me. And I went through a process of 2 exams and 1 interview, and I got in. I don't know how they get it now. But I can tell you that when I was there, when they established that program, they were looking for charter holders to hire. Now they are no longer looking for charter holders to hire. They are building the charter holder, body of charter holders in-house. They are paying for their exams, paying for lectures, sending them to the exam and all that, refunding all their money and all that. So that's what they are doing. But in terms of getting into a place you want to work, prepare yourself. That's the best thing you can do. Be prepared. So writing the CFA is one of the ways to prepare. So when an opportunity comes, let it not be that you are not prepared for it. So that's my advice.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me at this point call Shay to just give his vote of thanks to
Hi, I'm sorry. I have a question.
Yeah, looks like
don't worry, Shay. Don't worry. I can spare another 5 minutes. Go on with the question.
Thank you very much. Very insightful one on sharing the benefits with us. I just wanted to hear from you. What are the challenges so far that one is expected to pass through or to see as one progresses in the charter, being a charter holder?
Okay, after being a charter holder, the challenges, or is it trying to be a charter holder? Which one?
At the point of writing your exams into being a full charter holder and part of the membership.
Okay, so the biggest challenge is passing the exams. The exams are tough. There are 3 exams. They are tough. I know Sheyi them were telling you about them just now. So that's the first challenge. And to pass the exam, you need to change your lifestyle. You can't pass the exam with the current lifestyle. You have to, like I tell people, you need like 3 or 4 hours of reading every day to pass. So it changes you a lot. So that's a big challenge. Some people find it difficult to bring out that time that is needed to pass the exam. So, but when you pass the exam, then it becomes easy because all you now need to do, you need 48 months of experience. That a lot of things count as experience. So that's usually not a problem. And then you become a full charter holder. Once you become a full charter holder, you're on a roll. I mean, nobody's worrying you again. So all you're now looking for are the opportunities here and there. So I've been a charter holder for about 11 years now. It has been nice. It has been good. If it's money you want, as you make yourself available for jobs come. If it's other things, if it's recognition in places and all that, you get all that. So the major challenge right now that is facing you is passing the exams. And I'm sure Ivy League will guide you and you will pass.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, change your lifestyle for the period of the exam. That's what I
Yes,
heard
yes.
from okay. I
Yeah, for the period.
remember.
Shay, you know now, Shay, you know what we did now. You know how we used to go and spend nights in class. You need to retell them all.
Yes, yeah. And I remember at that time, you had a very wonderful wife who gave you, time to study. So I had the
Yes,
benefit of
yes,
in my
yes,
career. Yeah,
yes.
I had a bit of time. Okay, he was working, he had kids, he was married, he's married, yeah, obviously. And so it was a bit of a challenge for him, but he was putting in those extra hours, reading overnight and all of that. And obviously it has paid off. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time. We hope that when we call on you another time, you will honor us. So thanks very much. And
Thank you.
Jonathan, over. Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you very much. And bye.
Wow, that was fantastic. That was very insightful, and I think that practically just speaks to why we're trying to have this session. Just to encourage everyone, have the bigger picture in mind, and I think you heard from no less a person who embodies everything we are trying to instill in this program. So it's just been a pleasure listening to our guest speaker. And I hope we've all, gotten quite a lot of insightful things, that we can apply as we embark on our journey. Okay, so let's now share updates on how to get through with the program and pretty much, begin to coast home. So I wanted to speak on the update specifically for level 1, which is really the program we're offering. So there are 60 readings, and just to appreciate this, it was 57 as at the last time there was an update. So 3 extra readings have been added to level 1. So 60 readings. In fact, 2 readings have been dropped from the previous one. So just in case I'm speaking to somebody here who is trying to rewrite level 1, just know that some readings that were in application in 2021 doesn't hold again. So you now have new set of readings. And in fact, I'll speak on the new readings now that are available. Some very popular topics you might have known previously. So, for example, topics like working capital management, cost of capital budgeting have all been removed from the curriculum for level 1 now. While 5 new readings have been added in 2022. I'll speak to that in the next slide. And then quite a lot of significant updates. In fact, alternative investments, quantitative methods, fixed income, corporate issuers as you have it now have seen the most updates. I think about 60 to 70% of the content there have been updated. So you now have quite a lot. And I would also highlight that, in terms of the broad topics, that have been updated. Ethics too has been adjusted. So ethics in terms of how you look at the way the topics are structured from CFA, ethics is now at the end. So for a lot of you who were writing the exams in the past, ethics used to be the first set of questions in the exam. So ethics have been moved to the end. Still sort of reflecting, how strong, ethics is to the course. Okay, so a bit about it. So in some high level details, so you now have topics like organizing, visualizing, and describing data. When Oke was speaking, he spoke a lot about things like fintech. So even in quant, so there's a lot on data science, data analytics, that's been added to quantitative methods. So you find that in reading too. You'd say a lot of that. So there's a full reading, quite very extensive on organizing, visualizing, and describing data. Then also for quant, you have linear regression. So that's a new topic. Linear regression has been added. Linear regression has been added. It's still along the lines of developments in statistics as well too. You also have for level 1 capital structure, and this is insightful. So you would find under corporate issuers, so topics like cost of finance, or rather cost of capital. You find cost of capital covered, uses of capital. You find all that, in corporate issues. So there's a new reading on that, just highlighting a lot of that. Then you also have behavioral biases of individuals, and you find that in under portfolio management. In fact, this used to be a level 3 topic. Is been added now, so you find a lot of that, so extensive detail on that. Then under ethics, there's been a new reading on ethics. It's called ethics application, so it's more like a short scenario. So you find MCQ questions on short scenarios regarding your application of ethics, and then you'll be given options to choose from. So there's just a new reading on applications, practical applications around ethics. So these are the 5 new readings that have been added on the CFA Level 1 program. So I think this will be very insightful, for quite a lot of us on the call. So just to add that anybody who registers for the Level 1 exam, and by registration, I mean if you get to pay for the Level 1 exam, immediately you would have access to a variety of study information. So there's what we call the CFA, candidates resource. And so some of the things you would have access to from the moment you pay, which will be very complementary to your study, include things like having access to offline versions of the program curriculum, which is really the core reading materials. You find study session materials, you find customized study plans. So the CFA has actually created study plans for you, adaptive study plans. So you just choose when you want to write your exam, and then they build up, a simulated study plan for you in terms of, okay, this is how many hours you need to cover every day, things like that. And there are also practice questions you would find. And the practice questions are structured along the lines of the readings, also along the lines of the study sessions as well too. So you find for every topic you cover, for every chapter you cover, every reading you cover, you find practice questions. You also have mock exams, and that's also another thing you should maximize. So mock exams, and it's always advised that you attempt these mock exams under exact time condition. Then you have access to a lot of study resource tips, flashcards, So all these are available for you on the CFA, on your on the candidate support resources. From the moment you pay for the exams, you get access to this instantaneously. Okay, so if you are considering writing the CFA exam, these are the time sessions for you in terms of when the dates, when you can write the exam, and just a bit about how you can plan yourself. So you basically have the following windows now. February is next month. I can say categorically, I mean, the registration period has closed. So there's nobody here who can actually, if you've not registered, that can actually opt in for this one. But for May exam, which is what we are targeting and preparing candidates for the May exams, what is available will be only level 1 and level 3. So there's been some adjustments in how the CFA, in terms of the testing periods. So you find that in May you can write level 1, and for those who are writing level 3. In August, level 1 we hold. So level 1 holds 4 times in a year, every February, May, August, and November. Then level 3 and level 2 varies. You don't have them with the same frequency like you have in level 1. In fact, level 2 is 3 times, level 3 is 2 times. So you find that in August, that's the only time period where you can have all the 3 all the 3 levels being tested. And this is just for this year. There's also a change from next year, but just to gauge your planning. Let me add that there is a rule that CFA enforces. So there must be a minimum of 6 months between exams now. So minimum of 6 months between writing any exam. So if you are going to be writing level 1 exam in May, it means the next time you can write your level 2, you can't write in August, will be in November, if you get what I mean. So there must be a 6 month gap, between any exams. So now we have increased number of testing periods, but just to say that 6 month rule still does hold. Right. So, and if you're going to be writing your exams in August or in November, it is impossible to write any exam again this year. in terms of the next, in fact, even a receipt exam actually. So there has to be a minimum of 6 months between receipting your exam if you have a fail score or writing the next level if you have a passing score. For next year, just a bit of how it will look like. So there will be only level 1 and level 3 in February, while in May there'll be level 1 and level 2. Then in August you have level 1, level 2, and level 3. Then in November level 1 and level 2. So if I was speaking to somebody here who wanted to somewhat, figure out how quickly can I get through my CFA program. So just a bit of this. So think of the 6-month rule. If you be writing in May, the next time you can write another exam, but let's hope you'll be writing the next level, which is level 2, can be November. Then if you write level 2 in November, then the next time you would be able to write the level 3 exam, assuming you passed. Won't be February, because February to November isn't up to 6 months. Will be in August. So if there's somebody here who wants to start your journey, so perhaps this can be you. So you can be May 22 level 1. You can be November 2022 level 2, and then you are August 2023 in level 3. So that could be someone who is on the call with us. So it varies. You might want to stretch. I personally encourage that you actually spread out your exams so you don't put yourself under a lot of pressure. And if you look at the way these testing options are, it's really the idea around some of these things. So if there's somebody here who wants to write maybe in August, if you write level 1 in August this year, then the next available time you can write. So let me just also put another chat, just so this might help someone. So you might want to write in August. So let's say you write level 1. Then the next time you can write level 2 will be in May 2023. And then you need a 6-month gap. So that would take it to February in 2024. So this might be, the journey for someone on the call. And that's typically, how you look at the progression. So this is for planning. What is consistent is there must be a minimum of a 6-month gap, between every time you want to write an exam, even if it's a receipt, so more testing options, but the rule still remains a minimum of 6 months. So there's quite a lot of scholarship opportunities. For CFA, there's also at the level of the Nigerian society. So there's the Gender Empowerment Scholarship, and we have that up on our social media, details of that as well too. You can check that on our social media page. But from the CFA Institute, so there's Access Scholarship. And this is for anyone. So once you can make a proof, in fact, this will be ending by February, the first week of February, but we'll put up that on our social media page so you know the dates. So this will be ending by February, the first week of February. So Access Scholarship, anyone who is not able to, who can, demonstrate that you are not financially able to embark on the cost of this program. So there's a scholarship for such a person. So all fees, the entirety of your fees, which is the enrollment fee and the program fee itself, or the level 1 fee, is subsidized to $250. So that's all you pay. CFA also tries to encourage, I'd use the term gender balance, gender equality in its admission of future charter holders. So for women who are interested and you don't qualify under the Access Scholarship, there's also the Women's Scholarship, which is reduced at 350 in terms of the overall investment. If you're a student and you are currently attending an affiliated university, so you might want to ask, is my university an affiliated university? There's a comprehensive list of universities on the CFA Institute website. Your total overall investment cost, both the enrollment and the program fee for the period you'll be writing, is $350 cumulatively. Professor scholarship are for full-time lecturers in universities, and who we commit to teaching a minimum number of credit hours. I know that the CFA Society in Nigeria is working with quite a lot of universities. So you might have a university lecturer who might be desirous of the CFA. So there's actually a special program, and they can speak with the CFA Society on that. So the fee is $350 in terms of the overall commitment cost. If you work for a regulator, and OK spoke a lot about that, from the perspective of CBN, but for most of the regulators, whether it's the central bank, the Security Commission, or even our stock exchange, there's a particular program for them. So I can tell you categorically that the regulators in Nigeria, the financial markets, capital market regulators in Nigeria, there's a program for them where they are able to access this CFA program at a subsidized cost. So that might be an advantage, especially if someone is thinking about moving over to those kind of organizations to work with them. Then for those who are in the media, so those who write on financial news, there are quite a lot of people I know who are already accessing this. I've got friends in some of the very popular business and financial news, and who I know are already accessing this. So there's a subsidized cost, which is $350, which is inclusive of your enrollment fee and the program fee for that period. So in terms of how we approach CFA tuition at Ivy League, we have an overarching learning approach, and which is still consistent even with our CFA program. So we do a lot of planning, and that's evidenced by the fact that we have a lecture plan that we make available, from day one. And then we have WhatsApp group that also supports and complements the interactions you'll be having in class. So there are WhatsApp group where you can ask questions, and your tutors are happy to engage you as well too in your questions and provide you with feedback as well too. We run our classes on a virtual learning environment, and the moment you register, you get your access details, you get access to the recorded classes, you get access to a lot of content materials, our lecture notes, also get access to some other materials we have that can supplement and complement, your studies. And we periodically conduct progress exams, mock exams, and we mark that and provide you with the feedback. We also run revision programs. So for everyone who will be joining us, we have the lecture period. After the lecture period, we then run a 2-weekend revision program, where we just do basically, practice questions at that point. And then above all is that, we encourage a lot of our practice on CBE, because all the exams are now computer based. So in terms of timetable, someone here might be wondering, so how does timetable work? So this is our timetable. Our timetable is this. So lectures hold on Saturdays and Sundays. On Saturdays, we start from 8:45. Now, the idea is there'll be a 15 minutes break after every class. So the first lecture on Saturday holds on 8:45 to 10:45. Then there'll be a 15 minutes break. The next lecture holds from 11 to 1. Then there's a 1-hour break. Then from 2 to 4, a 15 minutes break. Then 4:15 to 6:15. On Sundays, we start by 11 o'clock. And we have a class from 11 to 1. And then we run a class from 2 to 4, 4:15 to 6:15. So we're starting lectures this weekend, and I'm going to announce some good news, for everyone who is on the call. I'm going to just stay to the end. I have good news for everyone on the call, and we're going to start our lectures very soon. And just note that if you'll be writing in level 1, 2 things: the deadline for registration, which I will highlight in another slide, is actually February 8th, 2022. So you practically have about 2 weeks, to pay and get registered. And the exams will be over a period of May 17th to 23rd. So the exams are not on a particular date. It's over a couple of days. And so for the May 22 exams, it will be from this period, May 17th to May 23rd. So you might want to block that date in terms of your planning. So this is our timetable. This is what it's going to look like. We're going to have 14 straight weekends of lectures. Today we're going to have portfolio management just immediately after our open day. We're going to have portfolio management. And I'm going to say something to that before we end. Then tomorrow we'll have ethics. From next week, we start with economics and then we move through. So this is our timetable. But sometimes the topics we might have some changes in terms of maybe sequence. So sometimes there might be some flexibility, but it will be agreed with the students anyway, just in case some tutors might want to just have a session at a earlier date or at a later date, but it's usually agreed. So these are pictures of our seasoned tutors. So you can see quite a lot of them, industry experts in their own rights. So one of the things we are proud about is the tutors also bring various elements of industry practice to bear when they teach. So they're all seasoned industry practitioners in their own rights. So some of them, also here some of them as well too. Every topic has a lead tutor, has a second tutor as well too. So just highlighting that as well. So we normally make certain commitments, and we also expect certain commitments from everyone who will be joining us. So from our perspective, our commitments will be that we'll be disciplined, our teaching will be impactful, we'll keep to time, we'll provide support, and we'll make sure that our infrastructure would be very complementary, would support you basically. But we expect the following from you. We expect discipline on your own part, so come to class, be punctual in our class, participate, be engaging, ask questions. When we give assignments, please do the assignment, submit. When you're in class, mute your microphones except when you want to speak, and be professional in your attitude, in your behavior. Have a sound internet connection. That really does help, to ensure that we're able to deliver very well. And you also maximize the value, and above all, practice and practice. So that's the sort of commitment we expect from you, and these are our commitments as a school. So if you want to register immediately, I've listed what the entry requirements are, but just to add that in addition to that, there's usually a professional conduct statement form you will fill when you are registering for the CFA exams. And there's also participatory countries. So certain countries, CFA doesn't provide any support for them, so they don't test the exams in those countries. In fact, it wasn't not too long ago, most of them, people like the guest speaker and even Sheyi, all wrote their exams outside of Nigeria. So Nigeria just became a participating country quite recently. So it's not available for all countries. So check that the countries you are is a participating country. But let me state how the registration process works. So the CFA exam involves a two-step process in terms of registration. So one is you register for the exam, and then the second one is you schedule your exam, because your exams are written over a period of 6 days. So you register and then you schedule. So registering is more like the payment and being processing yourself to be a candidate for the exam. Then the scheduling is now determining the exact dates that you want to write your exam. So there's registration, which is separate from scheduling the exam. So please just note that. So the registration and the scheduling process requires you log into your accounts, and then you do your registration and your scheduling. So please note that. It is also possible that you might have scheduled a date and there's a reality that that date's exigencies might come up. So there's still an option to reschedule. So if you schedule a date isn't cast in stone, there's also an opportunity to reschedule another date, but there's a time period for that. So please note the following. All exams are computer based. I will want to reiterate. So there are no paper based CFA exams again. all exams are computer-based. There is a one-time fee of $450 for getting yourself enrolled in the CFA's register. I've spoken about scholarship, so some of you might qualify for some of the scholarships. So maybe gender-based scholarship, access scholarship if you don't have the financial resources to do that, or if you work for a regulator or you work for a financial media or you're a professor who teaches finance in a higher institution, there's that scholarship route. But aside that, there's also the fact that if given you don't qualify for that, you pay a one-time enrollment fee, $450. Now, there are two types of entry. Because of the increased number of testing at level 1, you don't have late entry again. You can enter for the exam. The frequency is quite, is a lot now. So you only have early entry and standard entry. Early entry is $700, and which is usually about 9 months before the exam, while standard entry is $1,000. So, and that will usually be something from like 6 months before the exam, then it ends about 4 months to the exam. So take advantage of this in terms of how you plan. So do you want to do early entry? Do you want to do standard entry? And if you are also planning, please note that the tuition for level 1 with us at Ivy League is 150,000 naira. I also will add that if you think you want to have a conversation with us around spread payments based on some conditions, you can have that conversation with us by the end of the session, and we are happy to look at your repayment plan as well. Also note, part of the cost, and Uki mentioned that when he was speaking, is you would need to make an investment in the CFA calculator. And we can share with you where you can get some of the calculators. I think it's important I also mention that results after the exams are approximately within 8 to 10 weeks, especially for level 1 and 2, but for level 3 is usually within 10 weeks. Yeah. So you don't actually get a score or an actual score for exam. You get a pass or fail, or pass or did not pass communication from CFA, and they will give you a graphical interpretation of how well you've performed versus the minimum passing score. And but there'll be quite a lot of communication from CFA on how to interpret your results. So you don't get an actual score. You only get a notification if you pass or did not pass, and a breakdown of how you performed in relation to the minimum passing score for that particular diet. Please note the following details. It might be very helpful. Like I said, February is next month, so I don't think it's important speaking on February information. But for May exam, registration closes, it's actually 8th of February. So you might want to note this. August, 3rd of May, November, 9th of August. I also wanted to share the following information. So you can schedule your exams. The deadline for scheduling, if you are writing in May, is 16th of February. If you want to reschedule again, is 16th. So meaning after 16th, you can reschedule again your exams. If you are writing in August, in terms of scheduling your exams, the deadline is 25th. I've said earlier on that the registration will close by 3rd. So May 3rd is the registration deadline, but in terms of scheduling your exam, 25th. And for rescheduling your exam, 23rd of July. And then for November, the deadline is 9th of August for registration and 17th for scheduling. For rescheduling is October. So usually a 2 months gap after the scheduling to reschedule, just to accommodate exigencies where you might find them. All right, that's been our session. And at this point, we want to take general questions and answers. But let me make an announcement. So today is our lecture day 1 or our weekend 1. And I'm happy to announce to you that lectures today will be free in terms of will be open. So for as many of you that want to experience the CFA classes with us here at Ivy League or get a feel of what a CFA class looks like, you can attend today's class and even tomorrow's class for free. So this weekend is a free weekend for you for classes. So please tell a friend, tell anyone who will be writing CFA level 1 or who wants to experience CFA level 1. You can attend our classes for free this weekend. All right. So any question?
Hello, sir. Good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we
Okay, so I
can.
have a question.
What's the name?
One of the major issues I'm worried about is conversion, like payment for the exam. Does Ivy League have a way to assist prospective candidates or candidates to pay for this exam without having to go through the exchange rate stress?
Also, unfortunately, we don't. We don't, and for several reasons. You know, even the exam testing periods have been increased, and so and you know the thing with even the fluctuation in the rates is never standard. But I think something you can take advantage of is you can actually get a copy of the invoice and then go to a bank and you can access I think Form A, you know, to be able to pay for your exam, which will be at a friendly rate. So that's something you can do. You can access I mean, just make the decision as soon as possible, then go to your bank and then you can actually, you know, pay for your exams. It's a qualifying route to accessing FX under, I think, Form A for invisible services, invisible products, I mean. So you can actually pay, which is the point I think you're trying to achieve, you know, getting to pay for your exams at a cost-friendly rate. Does that help you?
Yes, thank you. But do you have an idea of possible banks because it's that are already doing this, or is it all banks we can walk into?
All banks, all banks. But what I can do for you is we'll share our contact details and you can still have some of this conversation offline because I can't be endorsing a particular bank, if you get what I mean. So we can still speak offline.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any question again?
Yes, please.
All right.
I have two questions. My name is Titi.
All right, Titi.
Yes, so the first question is if one wants to write the exam, August exam, for instance, are we going to start classes with Ivy League this weekend up to then? Or what's going to be the arrangement for that? That's one. Then, secondly, you did mention accessing the scholarship and it's ending around February. So I'd like to know, seeing as February is also the deadline for payments to write the exam, can one apply for the scholarship between now and then, get a response, so that one can know whether one should go ahead with payment or not? Please advise.
All right, thanks. I think we have some noise at the background. Let me just check that the noise is in there. Okay. Okay. The first question. You want to write in August. So and this is the reality. You need a lot of time to prepare. I'll be very honest with you. I think that you are even more suited for this if you, in terms of attending our May classes, so that the extra time while those who will be writing in May, you know, go for the exams, you then use that to then brush up, do a lot of question practice, question practice. So a direct response to you will be that, you know, you want to write the May exams, the August exams, attend our May classes. We're not going to, the only thing we do for those kind of scenarios is we do another revision class again, and which can be a very short revision class. But I think optimize the opportunities in terms of attend the May class so that that then helps you with practicing, you know, for your August exams. But we will do a revision, just a 2 weekends question practice, more like mock exam kind of thing for August. So that would largely complement what you will be doing or what you would have done with us if you attended full set of lectures for May. All right, so that's the first thing. Then the second thing, so the scholarships are done per year. The CFA Institute scholarships are per is per annum. So it's just a coincidence that the dates looks like they're quite similar for May. In fact, I will tell you that you can't even access this because the process, there's a verification process. So you don't just apply and you get it. So especially for the access scholarship, where you are basically saying you don't have the financial capabilities to afford the exam. So it usually takes, from experience, it takes a couple of months. And there would even be some sort of audit. So they might even ask the local office or, to go and confirm some of the details in your application. So it can work. I'll be very honest with you. In terms of making the registration deadline, which is still in February, it can work. So most people who do it usually take a 6 month. Most people who apply for the scholarship usually hold a 6 month period before the exams will be writing. So typically, be looking at something like if you want to write exams in the later part of the year, but you can't meet the deadline for May, right? I think the deadline for August will come to something around May, first week in May. It is possible. So maybe look at August, November. So it just depends on the number of applications and how quickly they're able to verify all that you put in the scholarship application. Is that fine?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
All right. So I think I also have some other hands raised. So I think Azuka, your hand is up. You want to ask me a question?
Yes, please. Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate this session. My question is a little bit linked with the last speaker, and it borders more on your standard lecture periods for this CFA, especially for someone that is starting from the beginning. So I wanted to know the standard. And again, what advice do you also give the minimum period the person should be able to have attended? Oh, I'm so sorry. I think I've been speaking and I'm muted. Did you hear my question? Hello? Hello? Hello, can someone hear me?
No, we didn't hear you. Could you repeat yourself again, please?
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Good afternoon, all, and thanks for this opportunity for us to get all this advice. I wanted to know that what are the periods for your standard lectures for someone that is just starting from level 1, and what's your advice on the minimum period the person would have studied on your own and be able to practice very well for a full-time worker? Thank you. I don't know what I was heard. Hello?
Yes, you are. Jonathan, are you there?
Yeah.
Is that your question?
Okay, yes.
Okay, yeah. So basically, there's no varies per person, and it also depends on the schedule of the person. But most people usually prepare 4 months in advance. But I personally would recommend 6 months in advance so that even if possible, one should have enough time to cover the whole curriculum at least twice. And even 1 month to the exam, it's really advisable that you should stop reading, you should stop all lectures, and you should just focus solely on revision, past questions, revision, revision, revision. So at least 1 month before the exam, you should have been done with reading. So it now depends on your schedule. you should look at the whole curriculum and know that how long will it take you to finish the whole syllabus. If you're a slow reader, it might take you like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. If you're a fast reader, 3 months, 4 months might be fine. So in general, one should prepare 4 to 6 months in advance.
Thank you. And
Okay.
so
You're welcome.
you got the other part of the question. I know from this you are sharing now is we have 14 weeks of lecture done. My question is like what do you call it, the other exam, professional exam that you also run lectures for. The standard usually runs from I think January to June or so. So this particular one, within which period does it run? Does it have a standard period? It runs from January to April or from this to this?
Okay, so can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is our plan for the May exams. It's actually 16 weekends if you think about it, not even 14. 14 weekends is just for the lecture and the interaction, while there'll be 2 weekends for revision. And what you should know is, unlike maybe I don't know what the exams you are referring to, but we basically have 7 classes every weekend, and these 7 classes every weekend will be over 14 direct weekends. So it's not like other exams where it might be 1 paper per weekend. So these classes are all, because you are writing all the exams on the same day, if you get what I mean, at the same time. So that's just something I wanted to share with you. So if you add 14 plus 2, which is 16, ultimately that comes to 4 months. And the truth is, the exams in terms of, if you look at the spacing, so from January to May, you basically have just something around 16 to 18 weekends. So the idea is, when we are done with you after 16 weekends, adding the 2 revision weekends to make it 16, the other 2 weekends, you use that to then brush yourself up.
Okay, I get it now. Thank you so much.
All right. Then I think 2 more people and then we are done. So let's hear from, I think, Shoke Funtayo. We have to be done because we want you to start your first class by 12:30. So once we take these 2, then please just go and freshen up and join the class that starts exactly 12:30 to 4:30. So Shoke Funtayo, please go on. Oh, we can't hear her or him or her. Okay, Peter, go on. Peter, go on.
Okay, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, so I wanted to find out, your classes, are they exclusively virtual or do you have physical classes? And that's my first question. My second question is, there's a slide where you talked about deadlines for rescheduling. So
Yeah.
this rescheduling, can you reschedule from maybe the August session to the November session, or is it just strictly scheduling in the same session for different locations or different days available? Can you shed more light on that, please? Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so your first question was on if the classes are strictly virtual, do we have a face-to-face component? So our response is, our classes are virtual, they're all online. And part of why we do this is also because to reflect even the teaching aids, because your exams are also computer based. So the classes are largely, not even largely, they are online. So it's a virtual class. It even allows you the flexibility of joining from anywhere. Then the second question you asked about the scheduling period. So it's only for a particular time period. Let me tell you what happens. When you register for your CFA exam and pay, immediately the CFA incurs some logistics in terms of ensuring that you have a space for a particular time period. Okay, so if you think about it, they book computer-based centers, they make those payments. So they will tell the computer-based center, we're expecting 20,000 students in this time period. They incur a lot of those logistics. So that flexibility to say, okay, move on from one period to another period doesn't work. It doesn't happen. And if you even understand the concept of even the rescheduling, it doesn't happen at the same time you've scheduled. There's a period where rescheduling is allowed. And the rescheduling is just because, I mean, it's within the same time period, but maybe like moving from one date to another date, you know, so that kind of a thing. So you don't move from one time period to another time period when you have paid. But I've seen exceptional cases, and you know there could be exceptional reasons why this might happen. But what I can tell you is most times the earlier the better. I've seen people who write based on some very strong cogent reasons, maybe issues around health, you know, etc. Then the CFA can consider it on an emotional ground. So, but basically, even in the communication, you know, you'll be told on what the implication has been for them, you know. So, but it's not like a service that they offer. You know, I've seen it for very, very, very few cases and very strong, compelling cases, and the response was more emotional rather than, you know, an administrative response. Like it's something that they do. If you understand what I mean.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so pretty much it's 12:15. Let me see if I've got another question. So pretty much it's 12:15. Shoke Funtayo, are you able to speak to us? We can't hear you. All right, go on.
Can you hear, me
Yes, we can. Yeah, yes, we can. Please go on.
Oh God. Hello?
Yes, go on, go on.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah,
Good afternoon.
thank you for the interactive session. I just want to ask a quick question. Like, can someone already engaged in a professional class or training before still go ahead with this training? Is it advisable, please?
I'm not sure I got you. Are you, except, let me paraphrase your question. Maybe you are taking
Okay,
another professional course.
Yes, like a project management course or ACCA or any other one.
Okay, so to be honest, you don't expect it.
Or you'll be through with one.
So you can't expect a categorical response because people vary in their assimilation, you know, and in their study habits. What we can say clearly is the CFA is very demanding. It's a very demanding paper, and you heard the guest speaker and quite a lot of experienced people say how long the amount of effort that they put in their preparation. So it is very demanding. And sometimes you need to weigh your options. You know, the guest speaker said you need to change your lifestyle, and that's the truth. You know, you need to invest. I shared the statistics early on. I don't know if we saw it, that you need about 303 hours of study for level 1 exam, and that is based on research. You need about 303 hours of study for level 1. This is it here. So I think you need to make that judgment, you know, to say, are you able to afford this amount of hours of preparation in addition to something else again? You know, so, but are there people who can? Yes, they can. But the reality is there's quite a lot of work, you know. But if you ask me for a candid opinion, um, I think you should really prioritize. Look, this is a rigorous paper, and that's why it has the appeal it has. That is why it's a highly sought after designation. You heard instances of how it's celebrated in some of the most popular firms in the world. You know, it's a very, very prestigious qualification to have. So I think you shouldn't, you know, put anything in the way in terms of distraction. You know, just put it, give it all you have, and go for it. That would be my own candid advice.
Thank you very much. Then please, actually I have just two questions. The last one, going for a CFA certification looking at the curriculum that you actually showed us, is like more of working in an investment company. So let's assume like an and you're not working in an investment company and there's no intention of working in an investment company, but you studied accounting or you're an accountant, do you still advise what's it called? Do you still advise the certifications should still one should still go for the certification, or it must be someone or person intending to work in an investment company?
Okay, I'm going to give you a response to that by showing you this chart. And I hope you can see the chart I have here, which was basically from the guest speaker. So, who is this qualification for? It speaks to quite a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people, do this qualification. Even people who don't do direct investment management functions. The thing is, if you even look at the content, in terms of the topics that are being taught. So, for example, you'll be taught things around financial statement analysis. You'll be taught things around macroeconomics, economics. Basically, you'll be taught things around even quantitative methods, etc. So some of those topics speaks to a variety of finance functions. And you even have people who broadly would just want to go into finance consulting. And somebody even asked the question about, being an entrepreneur. So there's quite a lot of advisory opportunities, So the guest speaker did say even this SEC and or rather even the CBN and SEC also registers independent individual advisors on transactions. So there's quite a lot of that opportunity that can avail itself to you. You're a research analyst, you're a financial advisor, you're a risk manager, or you are even basically a CEO, right? So it speaks to quite a lot of, even professors and university and higher institution lecturers and academians also pursue this qualification. So I don't think that there's nothing in it for you if you don't have a direct investment management function. It's quite very relevant for them because of the content of what they do, but it still broadens you. And that's one advantage of the CFA. You learn a lot of things. You're going to cover things around fintech, you cover things around data analytics, data science in this qualification, economics, accounting, the various asset classes. It's very, very broad and holistic in how they look at topics under finance. So you just never can tell sometimes. It can reignite a passion to look at something. I've seen a lot of people who have changed their career paths, who were frustrated with their career paths. They were doing something, they didn't like what they were doing, but they felt deep down in their hearts they could do something else. They pursued this qualification and upon completion got into fantastic roles, so it can redirect your career path as well too. So sometimes don't think about it from the perspective of what you're currently doing. You can also link it to what you intend to do in the future. Does this help? All right, so I think we might have lost Shoke.
Your explanation really helps. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. So to everyone, let's take a break now for 10 minutes and you come back on this same link, and then we're going to have our first class, and you're going to be starting off with portfolio management. So tell a friend, share a friend, let everyone know we're going to have portfolio management, and we will have the class from 12:30. I think you might have a break in between, but you're going to have the class for the next 4 hours. So just come and experience portfolio management. And tomorrow, you're also going to cover ethics, and I think you might even be covering financial analysis as well too. So, but we'll be sharing that information with you before the end of the day. So see you all by 12:30, and it's free. And tell a friend to attend the class. Bye-bye, and see you by 12:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.